Hello and welcome to another episode. It's Saturday and we've decided to go to the beach. It's beautiful weather, but it might also be the last trip for a while that we can do as a family, the 6 of us. The baby hasn't arrived yet, but it could come any day. So we decided to take the day off and just enjoy the weather. We did a little bit this morning of work and we're gonna do something in the afternoon, but more on that later. We started the week on Sunday with tiling, and here you see my wife tiling the last bits in the bathroom on the bathtub, and then it was time for the very, very last little piece.
Das wäre mein Vorschlag.
Wir gucken mal. Hello, it's Monday. Yesterday we finished tiling. Well, my wife did. I just had to cut a little. So this is where we are at. We've tiled the shower, we've tiled the area behind the sink, and we finally tiled everything around the bathtub. So with all the tiles done, my wife could start grouting, which took a really, really long time, as you're gonna see pretty soon. Parallel to her doing that, I worked in the old kitchen and connected all the freshwater pipes. It worked very well at first, but then this happened. And I come to realize that this is always the case. You connect all the pipes and then it's dripping somewhere. It might be because I'm not a professional, but I just found, it happens every time. But you just have to expect it and then carry on. So here you see the grouting, and what you do is you put this paste into all of the grooves, and then you have to wash it with a sponge and sort of fill all the gaps, and then later you have to wash it off. And then when it's completely dry, you have to wash it off again. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and look where we are.
Das reicht gerade noch, glaube ich. Vielleicht könnte man sogar sagen, ich habe die perfekte Menge dafür. Vollprofi, würde ich sagen.
Auf jeden Fall.
So.
on Tuesday, after my wife had worked all night, basically, we took the day off, or at least a couple of hours, and went to Saint-Jean-de-Luz. It feels so good to get out of the house and our place sometimes and just experience different cities. And Saint-Jean-de-Luz actually feels almost like being in Spain. It's part of the Basque country, like Bayonne and Biarritz, but just has a different feeling to it. It was very nice to spend 2-3 hours there. We got some chocolate and then just sat on the beach and yeah, enjoyed not doing anything for a couple of hours.
Echte baskische Spezialität.
Super motivated. We started on Wednesday with plastering the walls, but also there was a lot of other work, like I had to adjust these small rings for the faucets. It was very difficult to saw these, so I used a little trick that I found out after a while and used some bamboo to put them in the vise. That worked pretty well, actually. So it's working, it doesn't drip, and it looks nice. Next one is the shower. So this is where the shower will be getting attached, but the problem is obviously that where it's attached there's no tiles anymore, so it wouldn't be straight if I attach it there. So I'm gonna cut a tile, because if we put a straight tile up there it will look strange. So I'm gonna try to cut a round tile with the holes, and yeah, let's see if that works. So this is a little piece, and this is the thing that goes on top, and as you can see, you're not gonna see any edge of the tile. Might be strange, but yeah, at least the distance is exactly what it's supposed to be. So this is a super example of what happens if you work in an old house. I did this part and I got the holes in and everything, and then these dowels are supposed to go in the wall, but in this kind of plaster wall, with the old plaster wall behind it, they just don't hold up. So what I'm gonna do is, the wall is only this thick, I'm gonna run long screws through all of the wall and then into a wooden piece that I can attach from the back. And that turned out to work well, so the shower faucet was installed as well. And then it was time to do something about that hole we have at the back of the bathtub. And what I did was to make a kind of lid. So there's wood around, and then there's a wooden piece that we can take out, and this way we can access this area in the future if, for example, we want to have a different water heating system and want to put that there, or just to inspect, for example, the bathtub and if everything is okay with sewage water and all these kind of things. And it could, of course, be a great place to hide, but we're not gonna let our kids use it for that. Next up was installing the sink, and here I also had to run long screws through the wall and then into some wood on the other side, because otherwise it would never hold up this weight. And while I worked on the sink, my wife kept on plastering and plastering and plastering until all the walls were done. Next up was sanding the plastered walls after they had dried, and this is so that they're a little bit smoother. They don't look like a perfect wall, but I think that's okay, and it also kind of fits the style of the house. Okay, it's getting exciting because I've attached everything at the sink, and now we're gonna turn on the water and see if it works. Okay, mach mal aus! Okay, it's pretty obvious it didn't work at first sight, but it was a quick fix in this case. Just some screws that had to be tightened. Okay, one project finished. The sink is installed and it's working quite well. Next thing is to install the toilet. Unfortunately, the toilet is dripping, and the reason is there's a pipe that comes up and then goes like this, and then you put the toilet kind of into it. And it's about a centimeter too low because I forgot that the tiles are there when I put it there. So what I need to do is to cut downstairs the thing that holds this pipe, and then cut the rubber off that we put in to fix it a little. And then I'll pull the whole pipe onto this toilet part, and then it should be perfect. Yeah, those are the things that take up so much time. It feels pretty stupid to undo something you just did, but anyway, it worked pretty well, as you can see in a minute. We had to use the camera of the phone to get behind to see if it was dripping, and luckily it wasn't. In this room here we have this machine, the AC, which can heat, cool and also dry a room. And we're probably not gonna use it to dry a room, but should somebody ever use it for that, even accidentally, the water that it will condense will run down this drain and would run into the wall as it is right now. And that would be really bad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a hole under the sink in the bathroom, and then we can connect this tube to the drainage for the sink. I might connect it later because it's not a priority right now, but at least I want to do the hole from the bathroom because that's gonna make a lot of dust. So that's a quick job for the morning. We're now testing the shower. Dann kannst du jetzt rübergehen zum Abfluss und gucken, ob es da tropft.
Ja, mach ich. Nee, das jetzt nicht.
Nee, ich habe noch nicht angemacht. Ich mache jetzt an. Okay. So it was the same as with every other appliances. I turned it on, it dripped, I had to do some more work on it, and then finally also the shower was working. With everything tested out, the next thing that I did on Friday was to start on the ceiling. I can only do parts of the ceiling because the window that's gonna go in needs to go in before I can do the rest of the ceiling, but I can't put the window in because the weather isn't that stable. Here I also attached the mirror, and my wife painted, and that was all we did until Friday evening. The last thing I did was to install one of the lamps, at least preliminary. So it's Saturday morning, and I want to show you how far we got. And one thing I want to show you is the absurd level of chaos that we have produced over the last couple of days, because there's just not time to clean up everything and so on. So we just keep on adding to the stacks. It starts out here, where I've cut some tiles. And then here we have some tools. And here we have some rubbish that we have to bring away. And in this area we have more tools and tools and tools and materials. And then this is where it gets really messy, because it's kind of, where we do the preparations that we can't do in the bathroom. And then this is the preliminary provisional workshop. It's a chaos as well. In our room we have stored like the bigger parts, like the toilet, the sink, the window for the roof is in here. And then in the bathroom itself, there's also still chaos. But this is where we're at. We have a sink that works, we have a toilet that works, we have a bathtub and a shower that work in principle. However, what we need is a silicone around the edges to make everything waterproof. And we're gonna do that tonight because we're waiting on an electric piston, because it's quite a lot and we didn't want to do it all by hand. So that's how far we got this week. We've reached the beach and the end of this week's episode. I hope you liked this video. Next week's gonna be interesting. Will the baby arrive once the bathroom is usable, or will it wait a little bit longer? I hope you have a good time. We're having a wonderful time, and I think we deserved it after some pretty hard weeks, and this last week was very, very exhausting again. We'll see. Maybe when the bathroom is finished we get some rest, and then when the baby is there everything will be different anyway. I'm gonna quickly grab a vegetarian burger, which you can get here in Cabreton at the beach, which is pretty cool, and then we're gonna go off into the water. It's the middle of February and there's about 100 surfers out here, and then 100 more people watching. It's really, really such a nice place. Okay, have a good time. See you next week. Bye bye.